Bruce.
I'm making a note. I'm going to make a note, Karen. Let's see. Yeah, hold on. Hi, Bruce.
Hello, Madam Chair. How are you?
Hi, fine. How are you doing?
I could not be better.
Yeah.
Try as I might.
Yes.
So, no, all good. It's a beautiful day.
Good. All right. Hopefully, you have anything interesting for us later to be excited about. We'll see.
All depends on how interesting you find the details of public policy and local politics, but
Oh.
yeah,
Well, Christina's
try to
right
spice it
there.
up.
I know, I
Christina's
was
all
like
over that.
gonna act like I didn't find it interesting, and then I'm like,
Yeah, well, that's a good skill to have, to listen, with rapt attention. So,
thank you.
all
Oh, good.
good.
Okay, that makes me feel better about how I'm spending my time. Okay, so quorum, cool, we have a quorum. No, Chris?
Oh, there's Chris. Yes, we have a quorum.
Okay.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. And yay, we have Commander Boss. And then, oh wait, Commander Boss, are you here twice? Yeah. We get two of you. Oh, there he goes. Okay. All right. I- Okay, I think we're good, Karen.
Yes, yes, go.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so can I get, Ted, is Ted here?
I don't see him.
Okay, so then I will not have the treasurer's report. Ted and I submitted the request for funding for the next year, so um, there's that, but I guess there's no official report. So really, consent agenda would be the agenda and the minutes. If I could get a motion from someone, that would be cool. And
I'll
do I?
make
Well,
the
I can't
motion.
do it. Come on,
I'll make
people.
the motion.
I'll
Thank you, Jeff.
and
Thank you.
I'll second Jeff's motion.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. And then any negatives? Oh, I thought Berkey was raising his hand. I was like, okay, here we go tonight. All right. No, we're good. Okay. And then let's get to Commander Boss, Public Safety. Do you want to go ahead?
Sure, good afternoon. Looking at our call statistics from last month, we had a total of 298 calls, which was up a little bit from last year, 260. And again, as I'm reporting that, just want to kind of give everybody an idea of what it is that I'm letting you know. So that number there that I just gave is the total number of calls that reached the sheriff's office, whether it was an accidental dial, an abandoned call, or a call that generated a telephone report or a deputy responding. I'm sorry, was there an issue with my audio?
No, you're good. Somebody
Okay.
wasn't muted, but I muted them.
Okay.
Sorry.
So again, it's that number that I'm giving, the 298 for last month. Again, that's not the number of crimes that we responded to or the number of times that deputies responded to a call for service. That's just the number of calls that reached the sheriff's office for one reason or another. And then we break out the calls for service of interest out of those that reach the sheriff's office. So, for example, we had 21 enforcement stops, 22 preventative patrol activities. So with that, just kind of give everybody a heads up. We just had an academy graduation in the month of June where 5 deputies graduated the Allen Hancock Law Enforcement Academy. The academy is approximately 6-month training process where they where they learn the academic portion of law enforcement, and now in the field training program, which is a 22-week program, they are now applying what it is that they learned in the academy in the field. So of the 5 deputy trainees that we have 1 here assigned to Sheriff's Coast Station. So if you see a new face, that is who that is, and his name is Deputy Andrew Kyle, and he's from San Luis Obispo County, and he's glad to be with the sheriff's office, and we're glad to have him. And then just kind of touching on the 4th of July. So the 4th of July, the sheriff's office, all 3 patrol divisions were on a maximum patrol period. So of all the patrol personnel assigned to the 3 patrol stations, we had 92% of our personnel on duty, which is a pretty unprecedented staffing feat that we were able to pull off to get all those people to work. Just the way scheduling goes, and again, it being a big holiday weekend. So at the coast station, our main deployment was in Cayucos. We did have additional patrol personnel in the North Coast area. And we're glad to report that it was a pretty uneventful evening. Anecdotally and personally, I was in Cayucos. The fireworks were down significantly from last year, and that was something that was experienced countywide. So want to thank the supervisor and the group that came together to kind of set the direction that we were heading in terms of the tools that we have available to us to enforce the various fireworks related civil and criminal penalties and laws. And again, the goal was to have a safe 4th of July weekend, and I think we achieved that.
And if I might jump in, Madam Chair, on this while Commander Boss is still here, let me turn it right around and send thanks to him and his crew at Coast and throughout the department. That massive staffing was awesome. And this, I don't know if you all know the history of 4th of July at Cayucos. 15 to 20 years ago, it was a mess. And thanks to our public safety and law enforcement folks, they came in and reset the expectation. The one thing that sort of tailed along was the use of illegal fireworks. And as the commander said, it was way down this year. And I'm hoping that's true. I know it is true elsewhere in the county. A lot of citations were issued. Fireworks were confiscated. And I'm hoping that we can reset the baseline here with a couple more years of this kind of intense patrol and enforcement. So hats off to a great, and we should add Cal Fire and County Fire in there helping us too. So
absolutely, yeah.
Good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you both. So you feel like that's the scoop for us, Commander Boss?
That's the good news. That's the good word right now.
Okay.
4th of July was a success, and we got some new deputies that we're putting out into the field.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think I heard one firework all month, like once. So, which is totally different than, a few years ago. It was crazy. So
Yeah.
We've lived here for 40 some years, and this was by far the best year we've ever had. We used to have a whole lot of fireworks going on until about 10 years ago, and thanks to the CHP and the Sheriff's Department and technology, it's been a huge difference.
yeah.
Well, we appreciate that's good to hear, and that's the goal. And the North Coast, frankly, hasn't been the problem. So thank you all for that. It's been elsewhere in the coast jurisdiction that has been the major fireworks problem. But again, even that was down, and I'm glad to hear that you all didn't have too much issue on the North Coast.
All right, thank you. And let me see. We have one hand. Katie, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Thank you very much. I just wanted to take a minute to thank Commander Abbas and the teams that were sent out the week before the 4th of July on June 27th in our little neighborhood of the Wilton Circle. Once again, we had the Newton Ramsey properties having a good time, and you guys got called out, and it was a robust response that I really want to thank you for. It involved having, helicopters and multiple vehicles and multiple officers that resulted in an arrest of somebody that's been arrested on that property multiple times.
Numerous times, yeah.
And so it kind of correlates to my usual presence at this meeting here, where I ask for an update from Mr. D'Antona and Mr. Gibson about where we are with the code violations for that property. But I just really wanted to thank Commander Abbas and his team, because it's exactly the kind of response that we need in this neighborhood to help us feel safer, because quite obviously things continue to occur there on a regular basis. It's not the first time you guys have come out, and I'm sure it won't be the last. So thank you very much, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah, and related to that property, I can tell you we're doing everything we can. That contact was based on proactive patrol, so deputies were proactively in that area, seeking criminal offenders came upon that subject, and then the rest is, as they say, history. So, again, we hear you and we recognize that property as the problem that it is, and we're doing what we can. So,
We appreciate it every single time we see you. So thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. And yeah, I mean, and if you ever think of how we can best greet the new sheriffs in town, just let us know. Yeah, if they ever want to pop on and just so we can know their face and everybody knows to say hi and stuff. We
Absolutely, that's a good idea. I'll see what I can. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
And I
you.
think we have Darren here. Are you coming in live from the fair, Darren, or are you driving?
Hi, Christina, live from the fair. I'm parked though, but I'm in my patrol car. I just finished the safety briefing at the Mid-State Fair with all the agencies involved out here. But it was too busy, so I came out to my car so I could attend this meeting. So are you able to see and hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm here to provide second quarter statistics from CHP Templeton. Um, this is going to be crash and enforcement information. In the second quarter, there were 16 crashes investigated. 11 were property damage only, 5 injury related, no DUI related accidents, and there were no fatalities, fortunately. For enforcement context, 104 were made, slightly down from the same time last year. Of those 104 contacts, 69 citations were issued, 43 for speeding. And there's a significant increase in DUI arrests. 5 arrests were made in this period compared to the 2 of last year. That's what I have for CHP Templeton, and I don't know of any other current events I can share in your region from our operation, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions if there are any from you or your community.
Okay, let's see. I'm not seeing any hands for you tonight. Oh, we got Chris Fox. Go ahead. Let me see if I can ask you to unmute. There you
Okay.
go.
Okay, thanks. I have noticed so much more patrolling of both Route 1 between here and Morro Bay, or actually between here and Slow, and also on Route 46. There just continues to be a lot of really, really bad driving on these roads, really dangerous stuff happening, people passing on curves and passing multiple cars. So I really appreciate the extra, the extra effort to patrol our roads and keep them safe. I noticed that on Route 46, there's a mobile speed indicator, and I'm wondering if something like that could be set up on Route 1 between Cambria and Cayucos, where really that's where a lot of the dangerous driving happens because people really just do not want to go under 60 miles per hour, and the speed limit is 55. What I have noticed is that a lot more people do pay attention to the speed limit, but those that don't are just really bad offenders. And I think just maybe some more reminders what the speed limit is and to, just hang back a little bit for the 10 miles that you have to drive a little bit slower. It would be really, really helpful. Anything that we can do just to remind people to take care, especially now during the summer, there are so many bicyclists on both sides of the road. Just a dangerous situation. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing that information, Ms. Cox, and I appreciate the recognition of our presence out there. And thanks for identifying the radar trailer that we have set up on Highway 46 right now. You've noticed it's actually on a straightaway in a non-passing lane location, but you've probably seen a lot of people pass there because it's wide open. It is a double yellow painted area, but we do see that being violated. Just for awareness, that sign just gives feedback of somebody's speed. It does not take pictures or record anybody's information. And that is a CHP trailer, not a county or another agency. So that's ours. We rotate that around different regions of the CHP Templeton jurisdiction. And your request to move that to Highway 1, it has been on Highway 1. I think Northmore, I think it was up by Burton for a little while. That region that you're asking about near Cayucos is certainly something we can arrange, but it made me think that I'll reach out to our beat partners, I like to say, or we use in our terminology for the highway patrol, but I'll contact CHP San Luis Obispo, who enforces the Highway 1 up to Harmony, so just south of State Route 46, and ask for their presence out there or some assistance too, and maybe we can collaborate and put a couple trailers out there. So I'll shoot some correspondence over to that command after we get off the Zoom call here and see what we can do to help out. And then, of course, the speed limits are really just a challenge that is just every day in every part of our state. I do like to encourage people or remind them whenever I have contact with them that, those speed limits of 55 and 65 are maximum speeds, not starting points. But that seems to be where they really turn from. So anyway, Ms. Fox, thanks for your information, and I'll share that information with our people too.
All right, thanks, Chris. Thank you, Darren. I know you have to get to another meeting, so thanks for being here. You're off the hook.
Thank you. Bye,
All right,
guys.
have a good night. Be safe. Okay, and do we have, there you are, Chief Berkey. Do you want to go ahead?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So, good evening, everyone. This is the report for June. And I'll just start off by saying our report writing system is still down, so we're working as diligently as possible. This is a California statewide problem, so we're kind of working on that in unison with our other agencies to try and get this back up. So you're going to notice in the report there's a lot less information that is normally available, but we're doing our best to kind of piece it together and get you the information we need. So with that, we had a total in June, we had a total of 117 incidents, 8 false alarms, 18 public service assists, 2 hazardous conditions, 1 water rescue, 3 traffic collisions, 85 medical emergencies, and 0 fires, which is always good. For the training for the month of June, we had our crews go down. We are fortunate to have allied agencies that allow us to come train at their facilities, or if they're doing any sort of live burn or any countywide training, they invite our agency, and we're extremely fortunate to be able to go down and be a part of those training opportunities. And so on the agenda, you can see some pictures that we provided from that training. But that was in Arroyo Grande. That was a county a live structure burn. So it was a live fire event, and our crews were extremely excited to participate in that. We also had some of our team go up to the rope rescue training up in Northern California and swift water rescue training. And then we also focused on, we had one of our captains resign from the department. And so we had to focus on testing and promotion from that, which we were successful in doing. One thing I wanted to note on the rescue side of it. So one thing you might not know about our department is that we also respond outside of our area, outside of the district boundaries quite a bit for county responses, mainly ocean rescue, cliff rescue, and also swift water rescue type events. We're starting to respond a lot more. We've completed and updated our auto aid agreement with County Fire. And so we're starting to respond to a lot more medical emergencies out of our area, since we are a paramedic staffed engine. And so that's something that we provided the county. So we had one of the ocean rescues that we had, the water rescue that we had in June was, in fact, it was up north. And our agency was the first in the water in that area. So that was I was very proud of our team and excited for them to be able to provide that service to the county. So the county does provide a search and rescue, or a urban search and rescue team, which I was a part of for many years. We now have 2 employees on our department that is a part of that team. And so they respond. So normally, if there's a rescue in North Coast area, it takes quite a while for that team to actually assemble and respond up to our area. So it's very fortunate that we have our agency available to respond to those emergencies, and especially outside the district area. Otherwise, they'd be waiting for quite a while. So with that concludes my report. I'm open to any questions.
Oh, I was going to ask you a question about a fire up Santa Rosa Creek, but that'll be next, like your kind of next month's report. Is that how?
Yes, yeah, we had on July 3rd, we had that little it was a 3 acre, I think it might have been 3 or 4 acre fire that that happened up there. Our team did respond to it. And it was relatively small, relatively taken care of pretty quickly. Did not pose any threat to our area. Again, it was a small vegetation fire in that area.
Okay, I have a question about this, and I know you were making fun of me like I wasn't signed up for alerts, which I am. And then I've heard from other people that they didn't get an alert either for that. Did
There was
anybody on here, like Chris, did you get an alert for that fire up there? Uh-oh.
No, there was no alert that was sent out. Again, the alerts are if there's two ways that those alerts can be generated. One of them is by myself or our department. If we see that there's any sort of necessary threat to our area or any you know reason to alert people of the fire, and it didn't seem like there wasn't. CAL FIRE also has the ability to do that as well, and they agreed they didn't see any reason to send out an alert at that point. So usually we want to save those for something that is a little bit more kind of necessary, if that makes any sense. This was such a small fire, it didn't seem necessary to alert or cause any sort of panic,
Okay.
during that. Yeah, that's why it wasn't sent out. But they are determined per case, more or less.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool to know. Okay, I don't see any other hands for you. So,
Oh,
hopefully.
I did want to touch really quick. I know Commander and Darren mentioned the 4th of July events. I was just at the County Fire Safe Council meeting this morning, and they said exactly the same thing about the 4th of July, especially here in Templeton. As you know, last year was quite a fiasco with the 4th of July, and it was a pretty big event that happened. So they were happy to report that, again, around the county, there was a significantly decreased amount of fireworks and fireworks related events. And so for our department, it was the same. We found it to be relatively quiet. I think we did get a report of a couple, but nothing like we normally had. And our agency didn't respond out to any calls. So I was, again, happy to report and very thankful for our law enforcement partners to be in our area as much as they were.
Yeah, us too. All right. Well, thank you, Berkey. Hopefully you can enjoy the rest of your night, but thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we are going on to public comment. And let's see. I have my hourglass here tonight. Oh, Leah, do you have something to say? I see you waving. Yeah, do you want me to ask you to unmute? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
There you
Do you
go.
hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. I don't know what the proper protocol or etiquette is in these things. I've never done it before, but I'm Leah Caviani, 2104 Blythe Place in Cambria. I just wanted Katie is my neighbor, and I wanted to just add one thing or two. Thank you again, as she did, for what has been done. I know it's an effort, that property. We've lived here since 2000, and believe me, we have lived through many exciting situations, fires, you name it. But right now, thank you for what seems to be an effort to maybe clean up the place. That big motorhome thing that was there for several years as a residence that has been removed. We've got a new one, however, if you'd care to take a look. It's a bit smaller and a bit newer, but it still is a residence there. I don't not know what the rules and regulations are, but there seems to be a new camper there now. The thing that I wanted to this is a question for someone. What about the grading? There seems to be this machine, this tractor, this grader going on. It happens at night. I suppose the reason it's happening at night is because they've been instructed not to do that, and so they figure at nighttime. But I mean, we've got lights, lights and everything. There's this grading going on, which is strange. That hill is going to just wash across Ramsey Street. It's been so degraded. The only thing I can figure is maybe they're trying to make room for another lean-to, another add-on there. I don't know what that's all about. Sometimes the vehicle, I'm calling it a tractor, is on the street, goes on the street. Isn't that really hard on the pavement? They're just resurfacing that street as today, rather than this week. So just I don't know if anyone was aware of that grading, or what that's all about and why, and whether that's proper. I just
Thank you,
wanted to
Leah.
mention that.
Yeah, thank you. And I
Well,
know
thank you.
that's on you guys' radar, but we'll just keep going through public comment, and then you
Thank
can
you.
touch on it.
Thank
Yeah, and thank you,
Yep.
Leah, for. Okay, that sounds good. Or Bruce, you go ahead. You had something to say.
No, I just say we'll respond here when
Okay.
I get the floor.
Okay, cool. Okay, Katie, do you want to go ahead?
Hi, I'm here again. Just usual squeaky wheel about the Newton Ramsey situation. I'm really happy that Leah took the time to join. I'm glad it's an opportunity for Mr. Gibson and Mr. D'Antona to see that it's not just me, that there is a wide array of neighbors here that are, fed up. So thank you, Leah, for coming on. I really, really appreciate the support. Sometimes I feel like an island out here. And that's kind of it. And I know that Mr. D'Antona replied to me yesterday with a more detailed understanding of what's going on. So I wanted to thank him for that. And I'm grateful for having his attention. And I look forward to ongoing efforts to get this problem solved so that we can have a really wonderful, happy little life in our cute little neighborhood.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, it looks like we don't have any other hands. So I know we're gonna get to you, Bruce and Jim, but I didn't know where to put it, and I do want to bring us to a vote, since we do have a quorum, for Deborah as the Area 8 Top of the World representative. If we could do that really quickly, that would be great while most of the public is here and before they trail off. And Deborah, do you want to say anything? And I asked you.
No, I'm just excited to be at the meetings. It's really interesting. I'm enjoying looking over the different rules and regulations and the different plans that come before the committee to consider and comment on. I think it's just really important work that the NCAC is doing.
No, thank you, Deborah, and thank you for being so thorough and engaged. And yeah, everybody knows Deborah is the moderator for Fire Safe Council, and kind of spearheaded a bunch of emergency preparedness stuff in her neighborhood. So I just think you're perfect for this. And
well, thank you. I'm also the liaison for Emergency Evacuation Zone 020. I have 400 houses, so I'm working on it. I've gotten up to almost a third of them.
Well, I would entertain anybody to make a motion, and we can have Deborah on our team officially.
I would make that motion.
I'll move.
Oh,
Second.
Oh, is that Kermit?
Yep.
Ooh, Kermit and Jeff tied for the
No,
second here.
Brian got in there,
Brian.
so let him roll.
All right. And do we have anybody who has a problem with this? Any negatives?
No.
No, we're really lucky to have you, Deborah. Thank
By
you.
acclamation.
Yeah.
Did you say she's area 6?
She's area 8. So
8.
since
Okay.
I've been
Okay.
on the NCAC, what is it, 3 years? We've never had a representative for area 8. That's
Okay.
where, yeah. So I'm so excited that Deborah's doing this because yeah, it's important to have somebody in every area, and now we do. Well, now we're looking for San Simeon. So, all right, Bruce, go ahead.
Yeah, happy. Thank you. Pleasure as always to be with you this evening, and sure picking up on the topic of the Newton Ramsey House, the Pitt House as it's called. Indeed, our code enforcement folks are continuing their efforts to get that squared away. As those of you who haven't been in the conversation for a long period of time, it's can be frustrating because there is a series of due process steps that need to be taken to work toward that compliance. It takes longer than it should in some ways, and on the other ways, it's a matter of making sure that we are approaching this in a way that's legally defensible. So a number of things have been addressed, in my understanding, and Jim has, as Katie indicated, sent the details out, but the grading is on the radar, understanding that that is necessarily needs to be a permitted process. They are working to make sure that it is done properly. If there's new grading that's causing further problems, we can look into that. But there is a deadline upcoming, third week of July, where a illegal structure needs to be properly modified to bring it back into compliance. In previous weeks, the owner has put up a fence around a pool. While that pool is considered whether it's going to be removed or whether it's going to be permitted appropriately with all the necessary code conditions that would go along with that. So appreciate very much the sheriff's department dealing with the criminal aspects of this, the law enforcement aspects of it. They work in parallel, but on separate topic areas from our code enforcement folks, and make sure that Leah, that if you ever see something that looks like urgently unsafe or illegal behavior, certainly 911 in an urgent situation is the call to make. So that goes on. Other code enforcement issues, again, under continued effort. The alley over in the West Village off of Main Street, visible from Highway 1. Apparently work there has stalled a little bit, so code enforcement is getting prepared to go back in and keep pushing that along to get that squared away. Don't know of any other code enforcement cases that are really high on the radar in Cambria. The other issue that we did get some comment on is the grass at Shamel Park, which has gone far too long without being watered. It's a long and complicated set of rules, as I indicate, a bunch of well-intentioned rules on a number of subjects sort of overlap to prevent the county from working with the state as efficiently as we should have been able to do to get a pump replaced in a well. That has now been squared away, and I understand that the pump is going to get replaced toward the end of this month or thereabouts. And so water should start flowing back to the grass there fairly soon, at least I would hope before the rains start, so we can rehabilitate that to what it should look like. And then the rest of the world in county government goes on. A significant step for us was the passage of the state's budget, which our biggest concern was how the state budget was going to deal with all the negative impacts of HR 1, the federal bill, sometimes known as the big beautiful bill, but which is going to cause horrible impacts to folks who depend on Medi-Cal, federal Medicaid for their health insurance, and the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, what used to be called food stamps, for their food assistance. This incredibly cynical, frankly cruel new rules are going to make it much more difficult for folks to keep their eligibility and and retain it over time. And we're expecting hundreds, in some cases, thousands of folks to lose their benefits there. In terms of the medical care, those that cannot provide for themselves, that can't afford medical care, or not covered by Medi-Cal or private insurance, are in the end to be taken care of by the county. And we used to spend upwards of $7 million a year before the Affordable Care Act expanded Medi-Cal. And but with that looming contraction, counties are going to be back in the business of providing indigent medical care. So, we are on the front line. We will do what we need to do. State budget did not provide us all the support. It was better than it could have been, but wasn't as good as it should have been, would be my take on it. But the county's going to keep plugging away, and we'll do the final work on this year's budget is in place. Fiscal year started July 1. We take final action once we close the books on the previous fiscal year. We'll take final action on this year's budget in September. So on we go. County's in reasonably healthy financial shape, and with all the things we need to pay attention to, we're going to be surging forward. So with that, that's the general lay of the land. Happy to take any questions.
All right, Ted Key, do you want to go ahead?
Well, in regards to this Shamel Park issue, there were ways that the county could have dealt with this issue. It was just incredible that nothing took place. One of our leading citizens confided in me that when he was talking to somebody at the county, their response was, "I don't care." Well, that's unacceptable. That's all I can say.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ted. I just want to remind everybody to be respectful, and let's just try to operate as much as we can in facts and not hearsay. Berkey, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to clarify a couple of code enforcement issues that I reported earlier this week to Cynthia from code enforcement. So there were 3 or 4 of the properties that were in town that were of high concern for me. A lot of them had to do with hoarding, and they were noted by Cynthia that they were already open cases. I just wanted to bring them back to the top of her list. So I wanted to make Supervisor Gibson and Jim aware that those were pending as well, and they were already known cases. But again, I just wanted to bring them back to the top because they've been exponentially worse, and they're, especially right now with all the heat that we're getting and the winds that we're getting, they're of high concern. So just wanted to mention that.
Thanks, Berkey. I think I know you and I kind of talked about the hoarding stuff, and Deborah and I were talking about something similar the other day. I forget something had come up at her Fire Safe Council meeting. And this is just like big picture, Bruce. So just throwing it out there, like, is there anything that you've ever seen where there's like, whether it's grant funding or some sort of funding that's available for like people below a certain income or that might need help in these scenarios? Because some of the people are like older and just it doesn't seem like they can afford it, or does that kind of fall on the community to do like GoFundMe's, or how
in
does
terms of in terms of providing them support to cure an accumulation of material that needs to be moved out?
Yeah, and sometimes it's like outside of their home, and so the home's filled up and then it kind of creates these hazards
Mhm.
like outside of the home. And I know oftentimes there's so many layers to it from like the mental stuff to the financial stuff, but just curious.
Um, we've we've seen a couple of different approaches to that. The short answer is not really. It would be obviously nice to be able to step in early and deal with this before it got to be a serious problem. If it gets to be a serious enough problem and the property owner refuses or is unable to do it, there is a court procedure to cure the nuisance, as it's called, and that's funded by a lien against the property that's paid off when the property eventually sells. That's the extreme case of it. In other situations, it really does depend on the goodwill of others to help out if that's the desire of the property owner in the community.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We have iPhone with a hand up. Go ahead, iPhone. Okay.
Sorry, it took me a little while to unmute. So I have noticed,
Oh, really quick, can you tell us your name?
oh, sorry, my name's Teresa Borstelman. I have lived in Cambria going on 8 years now, and I have noticed that there is at least one property on every street that I walk by that has at least one house with a hoarding issue. And I know, for example, there's one on Pierce between Ardith and Lucille, and that property had a hoarding problem. It seems to have been improved for a short time, but I did notice like food particles out there. That area, and I'm happy to look up that address and submit it. But it has food particles and things where if animals can get trapped in, hurt, injured, or any child that might be unsupervised can also be hurt. And it just seems unsafe. And I know that we find vacant lots if their grass is not taken care of. But I think that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And we allow all these properties to have hoarding issues or be abandoned, and they just put a little fence in front of it. And all this is fuel material that places all of us in a serious danger. And most of us are senior citizens in this area. And we all know the time they would take to evacuate this area, and hoarding properties and properties that are not properly maintained place us in a serious danger of fire. That's my comment.
Thank you, Teresa. Jeff Bloom, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. One thing I've seen work fairly well, especially in a community like Cambria with some really elderly people that get behind the curve on their ability to take care of it, is the code enforcement agencies I've been familiar with oftentimes reach out to the faith-based community to secure help. And in another example of a partially burned structure, it turned out it was the veterans organizations. But it takes code enforcement and sometimes adult protective services, if you have that, reaching out to these alternate agencies for help, because usually in my personal experience, it's people who literally cannot handle it on their own. And it's awkward for the county, of course, to step in and actually take over for them or to give them a lot of advice on how to proceed. But it's okay if the faith-based and veterans organizations do that privately, and I've seen it work remarkably well several times. And but you have to do the outreach to get it going. And I think it's something worth looking into because it doesn't require a state budget or a special fund. And then I think on the flip side, you have to be far more willing and aggressive on conservatorships and whatnot to try to deal with the people who just they have the means but choose not to cooperate. But I think there are some answers that would help some of the more elderly people to get on top of things they just can't handle on their own. So, thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. And Deborah, do you want to go ahead?
On that same vein, is there something, I know that Mr. Gibson is involved with the new mental health facility and so on, something that could be put together that would address the hoarders in a way that they might understand how what their behavior is impacting everybody else, and maybe with the right language could try to make inroads with them, although it's very difficult. I had hoarders in my family and I had to clean up after them. It took me years. So I don't hoard anything. It's out the door. So I was in the middle of people that were hoarding. So it's hard. They don't even know they're hoarding.
Yeah, okay. Well, I thank you, Deborah. Matthew, you want to touch on this or you have something else going on?
Yeah, I was just going to follow up, and it's not necessarily the best option, but the district is working on a ordinance change that will effectively give more authority to the fire chief to inspect these properties and enforce the cleaning up of the properties. And it could lead to the district doing it themselves and then charging it to the property owner in the tax roll. That doesn't address, the financial issues of some of our elderly population that are on fixed incomes that have these problems. But we are looking at it from an enforcement issue, and we'll have an updated ordinance here in the next month or so. And it's more of a motivational tool, when you start levying these fines and then eventually take it over as a district to enforce it ourselves. We're working through that process, but that is something the district is looking at and looking to take steps. But again, it's kind of the last resort, which we don't want to do because we do understand, that there are, financial limitations to some of our property owners, but at the same time, there's some life safety issues that, you can't let go. And so we are looking at that.
All right, thank you. Brian, do you want to go ahead?
I just had an additional comment to the issue of hoarding. We had a neighbor at the bottom of our street who you could not get into the front door for several years, and so it became a health and safety problem. And so I'm certainly glad to hear what Chief Berkey said about the fire department issuing citations for that.
Thank you, Brian. All right, well, clearly something that needs a little more milling over. So, is there anything else that you guys have for the supervisor's office? Are you guys off the hook? Bruce, are you getting out of here? Jim, are you staying? Are you scared from last month? You're staying.
I'm gonna hang around for a little bit. I may turn the video off, but I'll be nearby for a few minutes at least.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Good to see you.
All right, and then Deborah. So then we're back on you, girl. Take it over.
Okay, well, I already sent in my report, so I don't want to regurgitate that, but we had a great speaker, Stacy Korsgaden. She actually ran for Insurance Commissioner of California. We were lucky to get her for a speaker our last meeting. It was wonderful. We learned all about insurance. And that leads me to, on the CCSD, there's a fabulous link to for further information about insurance to a neutral group that you fill out a form, send it off. They can answer your questions because people used to be referred to the focus group. And with the volatile situation with fire insurance, we can't keep up with it, and we're not insurance brokers, and it could put us in a a really bad position legally if we recommend a broker and they're selling non-admitted insurance, wraparound insurance for California fire insurance. Companies that are outside of the state of California do not have to fall under the laws of protection of California. And it's just it's not a good situation right now. So the CCSD's website's great. I'm encouraging everybody to sign up for the emails and to peruse the CCSD site because they spent a lot of time creating a lot of material that's important to all of us. We're going to be having more chipping events. I asked for some banners we could put up around town because the message is not getting out, and we might have 18 homes that sign up for chipping when maybe we should have 50 or 80. So we need to try to do a better job with that. We're trying to come up with small digestible tasks that people can do to create a defensible space around their properties, evacuate safely. One of the big issues we have, and maybe Bruce and Jim can help us out, is the cost of removing trees. The permitting fee is almost $700 plus the cost of removing the trees, and that's almost impossible for most people to afford. Plus, it's $50 for each additional tree, up to 5 trees. We have to have some kind of change in that permitting fee. I know it's a cash cow for the county, but it's killing us in Cambria and preventing people who are thinking about removing the trees. I talk to these people all the time and they can't do it. They don't have like upwards of, by the time you have the trees removed, it could be $1,600 with that fee or more, $1,800. It's just it's just an unfair, like a taxation without representation. Thank you, 250th anniversary on Cambria. So I'd like to see something done on that could help us out, because that's really preventing a lot of people from removing these trees that are up against their homes. They can't do it. They want to, but they can't. We're going to be trying to do some different kind of outreach. The Fire Safe Council has ordered us our own booth with a pop-up and a tablecloth and everything. So we're going to be looking pretty sharp. So we may be doing the farmers market occasionally. We want to get involved when they have the fire safety week at the schools. We want to reach out to the landscapers, maybe put together a packet with the CAL FIRE brochures in English and Spanish, because they're our first line of defense out there. That's the first ones we go to when we need to get something done. Also, the Fire Safe Council is sponsoring a demonstration building and garden at the Mid-State Fair, so please go and see it. Plus, they have air conditioning, which is hard to find at the Mid-State Fair. The other thing is, it was kind of an honor, no matter who the candidate was, to be there at 5 p.m. when Jim D'Antona, the election was certified. So whoever it was that would have been sitting in that chair, it was an honor to be there and to congratulate them and feel their joy. So I wanted to say thanks for sharing that with us, Jim, and good luck in your new position. And that's it for me, unless anybody has any questions.
Thanks, Deborah. Bruce, I saw you pop back on. Did you want to comment on the tree thing, or
we can look into it. Just a couple of comments. First of all, the fees the county charge cannot be more than the cost of us providing that service. So that's studied every year in a major way every 5 years. There may have been a program, and we'll have Jim check into this tomorrow, that if a tree is deemed a fire danger to the structure, and that gets done by CAL FIRE, I think there was a possibility that the county fee could get waived for removal of that tree because it was addressing a fire threat. But other than that, if a tree is voluntarily removed for whatever reason, that fee's in place and is something we have to charge. So happy to work on things that address fire safety. We can look into whether there are adjustments that can be made on that.
All right, thank you so much, Bruce, and thank you, Deborah. Um, Yay! Okay, Dominic, do you want to show anything, or are you just going to talk us through?
Nope, just here to talk, Christina. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. Okay, go ahead.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And I guess you
introduce.
can hear me since you responded, so that's a good sign as well. For those that don't know me, although I've been in front of this group quite a few times now, my name is Dominic Del Porto. I'm on the long range planning team in the planning department at the county. Um, you know, us long rangers kind of come out around, every couple of months to kind of give an update on where we're at with stuff. Today specifically, we're going to be talking about progress on housing actions that were taken to advance housing production in the county. One of these actions is called urban lot splits and urban dwellings, commonly known as SB 9, which was passed by the state of California. I think it was signed in 2022. So we brought SB 9, urban lot splits, urban dwellings, whatever you'd like to call it, into the inland portion of the county last year or the year before. And then recently we were poked by one of the state departments of housing and community developments to bring this into the coastal area of the county. So we're working on this ordinance to bring this ordinance from the inland into the coastal areas of the county. We're working with, of course, Coastal Commission on that as well, because they have to certify any new ordinances that we have in the coastal areas. And there's a couple of eligibility criteria that you have to abide by in order to do an urban lot split or an urban dwelling. One of those, which is probably the most pertinent for your group, is that you need a will serve letter. So because of that, really the result of this in Cambria is that no properties will be eligible because I think, as everyone knows, can't get a will serve letter in Cambria right now. So that's pretty much it for me here. We'll be going to Planning Commission for this in September, on September 10th, and then we'll be going to the Board of Supervisors on November 3rd. And the red lines will be posted with that Planning Commission agenda on September 3rd or September 4th. So if anyone would like to look at them, you'll be able to see them there. And my email is my Zoom name here, ddalporto@co.slo.ca.us. I know Christina has that as well if anyone has questions. But if you guys have any questions right now, happy to answer them.
Okay, let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Can I ask a question? Oh, okay, Jeff Bloom, you go ahead.
Just a quick one. Is there a draft ordinance already, or?
We're working on it right now. You'll be able to see it with that Planning Commission agenda when it comes out that usually comes out on about a week before the hearing. So that'll be September 3rd or September 4th. It'll be posted.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question, and this is very layman's terms. Would this be similar to like what like those of us nerds would be seeing a lot of online coming out of like the like Palisades and Altadena, where somebody will say like they're rebuilding, but they did this lot split, so now where there was one house, there's like 8 houses or something like that. Is this like a similar version to that?
I haven't looked into specifically what they're doing in Altadena with that, but this wouldn't be creating 2 houses or anything. What this is really doing is allowing you to split your lot and then have 2 primary homes on each lot.
For a single owner, or like somebody then, like I'm Christina, I have this large lot, I split it and I can sell that other lot to somebody else.
Correct. Yeah, you could split it and then sell it. It would be a sellable parcel that you would be creating, correct?
Interesting. Okay, my brain needs to work on that. So like in theory, just because as I think a few of us here are aware of, we have these like water meter transfers, at least for now, this like commodities market that exists in the shadow of darkness in Cambria. So in theory, like if this were to go through and then that was amended, everybody, approved coastal commission, yada yada, somebody could in theory split their lot and somebody could transfer a water meter to that lot that's been split and developed.
They would have to get an additional water meter or additional will serve letter for that split lot. So I'm not sure how that would work considering you guys aren't getting will serve letters. So I don't necessarily think that that would be a feasible option.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. Jeff and Brian, or Jeff, did you want your hand up? Okay. Okay. Oh, wait, did you? Now you're muted.
Did I hear you say it would allow 2 primary units on each lot? So not an ADU?
Correct. So this is separate from the ADU ordinance, entirely separate. So it would allow you to build basically a second single family dwelling. There is a size cap on that up to 1,200 square feet, which makes it seem like an ADU, but it is treated differently than an ADU.
And would they be required to be separately metered or?
Yeah, so any development that you would have to get a will serve letter for, like building another single family home, you would have to have a will serve letter for this as well.
Okay.
Okay. We'll think
Just
about it. I feel like
a comment that the devil's in the details on this.
yeah, we've seen some weird stuff out here. So we'll think about it. We'll nerd out and then maybe, we'll shoot you an email. And Brian,
Yeah, absolutely.
your hand was up, but it's down. Is your question answered? All right. Okay,
It was really the same one that Jeff asked about ADUs.
Yeah. Yeah, all of that stuff is so interesting because then I saw other stuff about people, and then now in certain cities, then you can build the ADU and sell the ADU, which is also really interesting. Just everything
Well, this turns it into 2 primary residents, so more than an ADU. It might open the door for co-ops or like condominium type development on what was otherwise single family lots.
Well, yeah, that's what they're doing in Altadena. I think they're trying to pass it in Ventura. It's really, yeah. Well, and my neighbor did it somehow in the shadow of darkness, and now she has a vacation rental and a rental on one water meter on one parcel, 2 primary residences. So, I mean, when people want to work the system, they work the system, so the devil definitely is in the details.
Yeah, and I would like to add, Christina, really quick too, that, this is state mandated. The state has asked us to implement this.
Yeah.
So we do have to do it in conformance with what the state is asking for.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I think everybody for the most part is aware. Yeah, this is coming from up above. Deborah, do you want to go ahead?
When I lived in Culver City, the people just a couple blocks away was City of Los Angeles, and they allowed people to turn their garages into the ADUs. So what happened was their cars, which were originally parked off street, came to be all parked on the street. So there was such an issue with parking, it was insane. So it's something to really think about because it's very impactful in that regard. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Deborah. And yeah, Dominic, we know this isn't, you didn't like wake up one morning and think like, how can I cram more housing into the coast? But it's fascinating because there's so many people and they do need, everybody needs somewhere to live. And then how does it get done right? So no, yeah, we just appreciate so much. I was telling Dane earlier just that you guys like sharp young minds are kind of looking at it and working on it. It's super cool. So
thank you, Christina. And to respond to Deborah, Deborah, state law does require an on-site parking spot for an urban dwelling. So that would be included with our ordinance as well.
All right. Well, thank you for being here and for filling us in. It's good food for the brain.
Absolutely. And if you guys have any questions, Christina knows where to find me. And once again, my email is the beginning part of my name here with our usual county at the county part. So thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, have a good night. All right, let's see, you guys. It's 7. So let me see, because we have this and then CCSD. I know Kermit has something to touch on briefly. I don't see Cecilia here. So do you want to take a quick break or keep going through? Karen, you give me your nod. You're the I don't I don't foresee land use taking that long, but
Oh,
then
those are famous last words.
okay, let's take the break and then we'll just come back fresh. Everybody, nobody's cranky. We just take the break.
Okay, and by the way, everybody, I was thrown out from 7 o'clock to 7:02 or so. Spectrum's having problems on Park Hill. So
Yeah.
if I don't come back, that's why.
Oh, sure. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes. We'll come back at 7:10, 7:10, 7:11. Okay. All right, of course, because we like took the break. Now the dogs are awake. So just in time for land use. I'm like, this is like a really awesome chapter in life. All right, let's see. Let's give everybody a minute to come back. Karen, I'm glad that you came back.
Oh, thanks.
I really feel like, no, I think this will be quick. And actually, Matthew, would you be a doll and share that little PDF? I mean, there's nothing really on it. There's not much to discuss. So, and then Dane, did you have something that you wanted to share before I dive into these, or?
Hey everybody, me
Hi.
Dane, county planning. Good to be back. It's been 3 months. We haven't had too many major projects go by your group, so I haven't been attending, but I've been listening to all the land use reviews, and I really appreciate it. So thank you, first off. For this one, I am the project manager, so if anyone has any questions for either of these projects, I'm happy to respond. This is essentially just buffing out of existing drainage improvements. I'm sure you locals are probably more familiar with this landslide than I am, but back in 2023, especially up in the North Coast, there was a lot of rain. I'm sure you all know. And there was a lot of damage caused to this drainage infrastructure. So the applicant here is the Pacific Pines Homeowners Association, and they're going to strengthen the existing drainage features. I'm no engineer, so I can't speak, too much into what that entails exactly, but the project plans are available online. And I'd be happy to, answer any questions that I can. If not, forward any questions along to the project engineer, Monty Soto, who I've worked with in the past, and he's really easy to work with.
Awesome. Oh, okay, Jeff's hands up. Really quickly though, before we get into it, Dane, I saw your info hold on it and it was just so well done. So yeah, thank you. And I just get excited to see these things finally coming to, like even thinking about the stairs down at Lambton potentially getting done. So feels like it's been forever since those storms. So it's really excited to see repairs coming through. But Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Dane, just a quick question. So I can understand the county process better, a case like this, does the grading get reviewed by whom? By building and safety, where the codes lie, or by public works, where the engineers happen to lie?
So it would not only be building and public works, but planning gets to dip their hands in this one as well. For planning requirements, there are geologic study area requirements throughout Cambria, and they're especially applicable in these sorts of situations. So this project was submitted along with a geotechnical evaluation, and then in this case, that will have to get peer reviewed, and that's before the project goes to hearing for land use approval. Also, a part of that land use approval is the referral to Public Works and Building for any preliminary concerns. Once approved, they'll follow through with building permits to construct the actual, repairs, and that also gets reviewed by Planning, Public Works, Building throughout the inspection process.
Okay. I see. Did we flip to the other case already?
No,
Christine?
oh yeah, accidentally. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay.
So this is what slopes down into like the East Ranch.
Yeah, okay.
You seem like you're grappling with something. Tell us.
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to understand. So these are kind of good these two cases side by side are kind of good to understand a little better the county process, because here, I would see this as a pure engineering set of issues, other than any disruption for environmental review purposes but like geotechnical usually is a building and engineering issue, not necessarily planning, but certainly to accomplish it, you have to disrupt the area, which would trigger the environmental review. So I'm just trying to understand how they differ.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the potential for engineering improvements, especially drainage infrastructure, to cause environmental impacts per CEQA. So in Cambria, your hitters would be archaeological and biological. Even in this situation, those have to be addressed, but also geologic requirements is part of that Appendix G CEQA checklist.
Yeah, and I presume you have maps that show where you have to be concerned about the cultural issues and any sensitive environmental habitat.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the thing that impressed me most about both of these was the amount of reports. Because we hadn't been seeing that so much lately. So very, very, very thorough. I personally didn't have any comments on this one. I didn't get that many concerns from anybody else. So I mean, unless somebody's come up with something since we've all connected, I would be excited if somebody made a motion to recommend approval. Oh, Kermit, do you want to go ahead?
Yes. What is it we would be approving? I don't even know what the issue is here.
Oh, we're just recommending approval of the
land
project.
subsidence. The projects have been built, haven't they? All the houses, or is this something?
Oh, no, we're looking at one of the two kind of storm repairs from the one that goes down to the East Ranch, and then next we're going to look at the one in Pine Knolls. No home development. Yeah, this is like that kind of flooding and stabilization of the slope, somewhat similar to the other one.
So the land subsidence occurred, and then the question is, will it affect anything else above there, correct? Isn't that really what we're...
Kermit, if I may, the whole project is to stabilize this hillside so those homes don't eventually slip down the slope. There are temporary sandbags and there's temporary shoring up there, good for a certain amount of time. But this is supposed to be a permanent fix to support the hillside.
Okay, now the new road that went in below there slightly, is that part of the drainage or just access to this area for what? It's not a road, it's just a trail cut in through the trees up there at the top of the ridge. I just noticed it because I walk Ramsey Trail all the time.
I believe that part of the roadway will be drilled out and then replaced with a stronger road. It's an existing access easement, so.
Yes, it was an existing road and they opened it up again. But what are they going to do to reinforce it? What stage are we in? What are you trying to get us? What are we approving?
Well, we're not approving anything. We're just giving our recommendations for if there was anything that we saw in this that we had a note on that we wanted to include with our recommendation to the county.
Okay.
So this is just the referral process, just like any other project, just like a home project. This just happens to be like stabilization of the hillside after the flooding.
Well, they do have problems. It's been there a long time, but I guess the recent small or downhill subsidence was a result of what? What would you blame it on?
I think if they're blaming it, for lack of a better term, on the 2022, 2023 storms, and then that's what they're, to use your term, blaming it on.
Probably the failure of the original drainage.
Really
That's
quick,
that's correct.
Jim's hands up, and I feel like he knows a thing or two about a thing or two. Do you want to go ahead, Jim?
Yeah, because and I'll let Jim follow up, but there was a failure of their drainage culvert that caused a lot of that damage. But go ahead, Jim.
Thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, thanks, Chair Galloway. Yeah, so there's considerable wastewater infrastructure in portions of this project here, and I haven't seen the engineering and layout here, but I think whatever we can do to mitigate potential future, especially going into what they're calling a Godzilla El Nino coming up, anything we can do to help kind of curb Mother Nature and direct that storm flow in the correct passage, I think would be beneficial for district infrastructure as well as the homes and everyone who's lived up there for decades.
Yes. Now, are they increasing their runoff in that area with more um, patio surfaces and so forth and driveways? Is that part of the issue as well?
And Dane, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I had the interpretation, and or Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, that this was like all this stuff was kind of nature was existing and doing its thing that it ordinarily does, and then we got like a bunch more rain than we were used to, and this started to kind of wash the hill.
We're going to get a bunch more rain, definitely.
So
But
this is kind of like a repair, correct, Dane? Like we're trying to repair this.
Repair and maintenance is exempt from new minor use permits. What the homeowners association has been doing is saving enough money to buff them out, make this much stronger so that it can support future storms, which are becoming more intense, as we all know.
Okay.
So the minor use permit is required in this case, and then that'll address the tree removal. If they were to replace the existing culvert for the exact same one, same plan set, like for like, that would be exempt from the permit requirements for the land use, but you'd still need a building permit, and that would be reviewed by Public Works.
And then, okay, well, wait, then Jim, let me ask you. So was there something that you felt like you were seeing in the, or you were or weren't seeing in this that you wanted to note, or you're just simply saying,
I'm kind of advocating here
for it.
for
Okay.
Dane, and because there is
For
considerable
Dane.
infrastructure there that has been exposed by that 2023 storms, and even prior to that. This was part of our Piney Way capital improvement plan that dates back to pre me in my position here. So anything we can do to kind of alleviate that and get that up to kind of, I think, the 100-year storm flow, I would definitely advocate for, and it'd be beneficial again to the homeowners and also to district infrastructure.
Oh, amazing. Okay. So you liked what you were seeing. It wasn't that you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm supporting this.
Yay. Okay. Harry, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Christina. I just want some clarification here. So these are two different issues with regard to drainage improvements. One of them has to do with some property on the East Ranch, and now where is this located? The homeowners, is this up in Lemert? The other project you're concerned about?
No, we're just strictly focused on one project right now, and this is Sky Street near Ramsey, and it backs up down into the East Ranch. That's what the slope is going into.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Harry. Thanks for being here. Deborah, do you want to go ahead? Oops, you're muted now.
Am I okay? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The infrastructure that they're trying to replace is dated back from when they first developed that area as Air Force housing. So it's really old. And there's a lot of debris down the hillside of trees, fallen trees and so on. So how soon can this get turned around? And if we're expecting this massive El Nino, how soon can they get this repaired?
Dane.
Hopefully, as quick as I can, Deborah, as quick as we can.
I don't want to see their houses washed away.
Neither do I. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Certainly not. It would help to recommend approval, though, potentially.
Yeah. So do I have a motion? Everybody feel, I mean, I'm so thrilled that this is on the table to happen. So.
Christina, I'm happy to make a motion that we approve the that we approve the intended upgrade of the storm drain system for this property.
Okay, do
Second.
we have a second? Kermit? Okay, any negatives?
So second, here.
Okay, perfect. So that's Jeff Bloom and then Kermit second, and I think Karen might have gotten booted, so let me write that down. Okay.
She'll be so proud of you, Christina.
I know. She really will. Let's not mess something up. Okay, got it. Okay, and then moving on to the next one. And thank you, Jim, for weighing in, and thank you, Dane, for all that info. Okay, so we're moving on to 1060 Hillcrest Drive. So similar in that this project is kind of linked to storm damage from the 2022-2023 storms. This is, so I don't want to mess up the words, and I know, Dane, this isn't your project, but I talked to Andy earlier. So this is a repair, but of a previously unpermitted like retaining wall structure that got damaged in the storms, and then maybe some like wood and random stuff was like blocking some things, and so the neighbors called code enforcement, and so in order to become compliant, they're going through the permitting process. With that said, again, like very thorough project review, geological, archaeological, environmental, you name it, they're doing it. So I personally, the only real concern that I know Jeff and I had connected over was just making sure, and I spoke to Andy about this earlier too, just making sure that I know the description cited something of like 100 square feet of disturbance, which wasn't really realistic for like 100 foot retaining wall. So just getting like those numbers a little bit more accurate. But other than that, I had hoped that we could recommend approval and get some of this storm related damage fixed. Does anybody have?
Yeah, I
Oh yeah, there you go,
yeah,
Jeff.
yeah, I'm unmuted. So Dane, that just you should be able to answer this generic question. So they're calling for a 6 foot retaining wall. Wouldn't they have to have some kind of fencing above it to keep people from falling off the retaining wall? Either a cable rail or some kind of barrier that building. One of my complaints with this one isn't what they're trying to do. It's how the application was accepted, because as Christina mentioned, it talks about 100 feet of disturbed area. Well, it's a 100-foot retaining wall. I don't know how you build 100 feet of retaining wall and only disturb 100 square feet. So, it's pretty much an impossibility. So, but that was right there in the project description. And then when you get into the drift of the application, it's really not clear what the new retaining wall is going to look like and how exactly where it's going. I mean, you can find lots of references to existing things, but not so much. So it required Christina to call the planner just to try to get basic clarification of something that indeed has pretty extensive review already. And then I guess the other quick question is to the extent that it's a 6 foot tall retaining wall and there's geotechnical work and whatnot, will there be requirements added after we've seen it by building and safety for further fencing requirements on the top of it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that. I think from a land use perspective, the real question we should be asking is this a good idea? And then if approved, it would proceed through the actual grading permit submittal that would be reviewed by building and public works where the county's engineers are employed. And then as far as, the geotechnical part of things, from a planner's perspective, that would be a post-approval add-on as well. As in, prior to approval of building permits, the applicant's geotechnical engineer must, approve the grading plans and stamp the plans. So it's really just a deference onto engineers and geologists who have gone through the appropriate licensing to uh, complete these projects. So from a land use
Yeah,
perspective,
go
I'll
ahead.
definitely note the grading discrepancies on the plans to Andy.
Well, I really think the questions are more the visual. There's no way to really assess the visual impact if building and safety comes along later and says because it's 6 feet tall, you have to have a safety rail on top of it. So we're not exactly getting a complete picture, I don't think. I totally get it with the geotech and grading plans maybe coming a little later in this kind of a situation. And I think you're right on the fundamental thing. Is it a good idea or not? Probably is if the one neighbor's yard is collapsing into the next neighbor's, to address that in a more meaningful way and get rid of the code complaint. But from an NCAC review point of view, we're kind of getting incomplete information, in my estimation. We're getting an inaccurate project description with less than complete information about what's going to be built. And I'm having said that, I'm still okay with it. I just think that for future reviews, I think it's good to check and make sure that the project description truly is reflective of what's going to happen there.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Roger that. We can just, and Andy knows, I said we'll just put a little note in, however the recommendation goes, for that, because I think that's always helpful, because we also aren't engineers and we only know so much. So like the things that are available for us to weigh in on, we want to be able to do that, decently. So yeah, sometimes it's helpful to have that right. Kermit, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, just a comment. You need a structure over 42 inches needs about a 36-inch guardrail if there's public around. But the critical question is, it's in his backyard. We've got cliffs bigger than 6 foot, so I'm not sure is this thing a solid block, or a stand, or a stack block wall that shifts back X number of inches every foot? You know what I mean? I'm talking like the landscape blocks you put in place, and it shifts back and it kind of flows around, and it's curved or whatever.
You're describing a battered wall.
Yes,
permit, but at 6 feet tall, it's going to have all kinds of critical engineering requirements to not fall down.
You can, the battered walls can stack up to like 48 inches solitary, but stepping back 3 feet, they can still you can start a new wall. So
yeah, the issue that's true. You can go 20, 30 feet tall with those walls if you engineer them correctly, but it requires back, basically digging back from the wall location and putting geogrid in layers to get enough strength for the whole thing to stand up and not collapse.
Well, it's only 6 foot.
Right.
I'd live with it. But
yeah,
I guess the question is, we don't know. So Dane, do you know? Or Jim, either one?
Well, I don't think Jim is Jim still here. I don't think Jim's weighing in on this one. No, oh no, Jim's still here, but I don't think he's weighing in on this one. But I think, well, okay. Dane, I don't know if you know, but I think the point is like essentially, are we okay with them kind replacing this wall? I mean, I don't know how much does it make that big of a difference, Kermit? Like,
No, I think the question is, we got two questions. Is one thing about wall say, is the wall going to be sufficiently safe, 6 foot high, whatever that way they do it? And second, do they need a restaining thing at the top? And
Well, so
I would go along with Jeff and say, yeah, both those things are of concern, but somebody should tell us if that's true. So I would say somebody needs to go back and ask those two questions of the engineers and get a yes or no on it.
Okay, the
Either
alternative,
one of them are no.
the alternative, Kermit, would be to recommend they go ahead
Yes.
with an understanding that the 6 feet will meet all of the engineering and geotechnical requirements, and that the way I would address the fence on top is that it be an open fence, not a solid fence, so you don't have 8 or 10 feet of solid wall, if you will. So some kind of pipe rail or cable rail fence would be
Why do
fine,
we need
something you can see through.
Let's find out first if they need one by law. I don't think you need one in your backyard. No one goes back there because you don't know what's there now. It's
well, why don't I just make a note if there is a rail required,
yeah.
and
It,
have it open so it's not this massing, then all of a sudden you're at 12 feet of massing.
Right.
This is Jim actually going to weigh in.
Oh, Jim. Oh, you were talking to that Jim. Sorry. Wait, I didn't mean.
Well, I didn't know which Jim you're talking to.
Which Jim were you talking about, Kermit? That's
I don't care.
There
Stand
you
up.
are.
Whichever one wants to talk, stand up.
Yes.
Jim, go ahead.
So the only thing I would add is I am dealing with a issue right now, code enforcement in Cayucas, where there's a grade separation, 6 foot wall, tubular pipe on top of that the person has vined, and now they have a 12-foot wall like next to the side of the other property. So I would it would definitely have to be engineered automatically on the 6, like anything over 6 feet has to be engineered, and especially if you're going in on different grade differentials. But I would be careful I understand what you're asking for. I would also add in something about leaving it open as opposed to creating like ivy put through it, and all of a sudden you have like vines so thick that it really is a 12-foot wall. It's just a, opaque, it's a brown wall and then a green wall. So just as an FYI, because I'm trying to figure out something to work. How do you, once it's up and once vines have grown all the way through it, how do you cut out a piece like that? So just FYI.
No, thank you. Thank you for weighing in, Jim.
Well, you still didn't answer the question, but
but you weren't asking that Jim the question. Were you?
Well, no, I'm saying we'll leave it open. Let the law definitely, the codes definitely dictate it one way or the other, with fence or without fence. We don't. It's another one like we had last time. If it's compliant with the law, we're happy.
Yes.
So
and then this Jim Dandona, did you say it was open and then the vines like took or it was 6 foot retaining and then something happened and then the vines?
It was it was like a 7, 8, I was like an 8-foot wall because the other side had a higher grade.
Okay.
And then they put the steel or the tubular steel fencing on top of the block wall,
Yeah.
And then they filtered vines through it, and the minute that became right, then it became solid. It wasn't just like vines draping over the top of a block
Yeah.
wall.
That's exactly what you said, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
my concern, I just don't want to see a, a 6 foot block wall turn into a 12-foot block wall because of the way it was built. And
Right.
I'm perfectly happy to take my chances on somebody planting a row of shrubs or something behind it, or letting vines grow in it. That's still a vast improvement over something that looks like it's 12 feet tall of solid barrier, if you will.
Yeah.
I think, if you were in a area where there was a view corridor or something, this is precisely how you'd build it, with a cable rail or a wrought iron fence that's open so that the views are protected. But if this is a neighbor to neighbor situation, I just would hate to have them see the equivalent of 12 feet of block wall. That's really my only personal objection to it. And if you're in the middle of a code enforcement case that you're trying to resolve because the slopes are failing into the neighboring yard, well, you really can't say you can't fix it and be doing code enforcement at the same time. So I'm okay with the concept of a 6 foot retaining wall if that's what's needed. I mean, there's probably, judging by what we're seeing as to the size of the property, there's probably a bunch of different ways it could be done. But we're not getting a complete picture here. And certainly the project description isn't properly indicating how much land's going to get disturbed to build it. Because 100 square feet is 100 feet of wall, 1 feet wide. And I don't know how you build that without disturbing many times more than that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Deborah, do you want to go ahead? And then, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Also, is there any kind of like a regulation, like for fire department, if a 6 foot wall that then becomes an 8 foot wall or a 12 foot wall, shouldn't it be 6 feet overall, including the railing? Because then you don't end up with an 8 foot wall or a 10 foot wall. It's 6 foot overall, including the railing. That was my question. And are there any fire regulations that, I think isn't this an undeveloped lot?
No, it's developed.
It's developed, okay, that it can't be more than like 6 feet high. What's the law on the height of fences? That's my question. So it's overall, because if it's the height maximum is 6 feet, that would have to include a rail.
Well,
And my second question is the displaced soil. If this is a developed lot, then they're gonna do whatever, but if it was undeveloped, then that would end up, in the rains, it would end up sliding all over the place, all that mud. So it'd be interesting to see what the fire regulations are for the overall height of the fence, finished completely.
Yeah. Well, why don't we, I mean, I think that from what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, we all agree that there needs to be a solution moved forward, correct? Through the form of some variation of this project. I think we're all very sensitive to retaining walls right now. So that's like a kind of a big picture issue I see for us. Um, and separate from this project. And so for this, like what I would love to see is if we did recommend approval and then we would have the two notes. Jeff, like you mentioned, just correctly kind of getting that estimate for disturbed area a little bit more accurate, especially since they've gone through the process of doing all these really laborious reports. And then the second comment on the recommendation would be the design of the safety features to not have it visually impact the neighbors and look like 12 feet of wall. Am I like bucketing this properly? I mean, then would everybody be happy with recommending approval?
I'd make that motion, and I think the answer to Deborah's question is building and safety and the county review process will catch any fire code limitations, whether it needs to be a gate or something like that. I mean, sometimes that's the answer, but I'm not aware of any specific fire code limitation on fence heights.
And I'll ask Berkey. Oh, there you are. You're here. Go ahead. Chime in, mister. Oh, there you go. You're muted.
Yeah, good evening. So the fire code doesn't address that at all. It's the building code and the what is it? The residential code. So the fire code just has to do with if it's an access road issue, defensible space, it can't be used to like avoid, vegetation management or anything like that. There are means of egress issues, but the fire code really doesn't specify overall height minimum requirements or anything like that.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, in any case,
we've got a motion on the floor, and I seconded it.
Okay, we got a second from Kermit. Okay. All right, cool. And then definitely, I mean, two things have emerged, that whole retaining wall stuff and hoarding. So we know what our work is cut out for us for the next little bit. And then Karen, I have the note on that because I think you were frozen. So I'll do it like we always do.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
And then Dane, do you want to get on with your night or do you want to say anything else to us? Dane's back from vacation, you guys, so he might need to go to sleeps.
Oh no, I'm excited to be back, but I will probably hop off the meetings pretty soon here. I always appreciate you guys for having me though.
All right. It's always nice when you're here. I feel like Dane keeps everybody civilized. So thank you. Yeah, and thanks for sticking it out and giving us all that info. So I'll get these two out to you guys by Friday.
We appreciate it and take care everybody too.
Yay, thank you, Dane. All right, good night. So what do we got?
Did we pass the vote on that last one?
Oh, because we don't have any negatives. Do we have any negatives? I feel like after that conversation, I think we're all okay. See, no heads turning. Deborah, you're good with it? I mean, we know this isn't the end of retaining walls and fire code, so we're going to be nerding.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can vote yet.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you haven't time if your head is shaking now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it needs to have clarification because if the permit is for a 6-foot tall wall, and then we put something on top of that, it's no longer 6 feet.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
That's my only question. Okay.
It's like this conversation of like that I feel like we've been having all year of like cumulative massing, right? Whether it's the wall on top of the wall or the house on top of the wall or whatever. It's like we have to figure out a way to try to minimize that so it can be in better harmony with what it seems like the area plans are intending. So anyways, we know what I think we need to keep plugging away at. But so thank you, Deborah, for weighing in. And yeah, all right, CCSD, who wants to jump in? Harry, do you have something for us? What do you got going on?
Well, first off, I want some clarification on what was just discussed because you had a motion made by Jeff and seconded by Kermit regarding the property up there on the Sky Street, near the Ramsey. And then you were discussing something on Hillcrest. So shouldn't there have been two motions or
There were, two motions. It just so happened that Jeff and Kermit motioned and seconded both motions.
Okay, it was a little confusing, at least for me. Maybe not for anybody else, but it was for me. Okay, so with regard to what happened at our board meeting this past Thursday, first I'd like to say that this was probably the most positive board meeting we've had in years, maybe ever. So first off, the first issue that we addressed was updating and approving the Fiscalini Ranch Resource Management Plan. Now, just a little bit of information. This process actually began in August of last year with an appointment of an ad hoc committee on the CCSD board of then President Deborah Scott and Director Karen Dean. So since then, the two of them have met numerous times with Friends of the Fiscalini Ranch Preserve Executive Director Kitty Connolly and with FFRP Board President Deborah Anderson. And if I'm not mistaken, this is mainly to discuss the care and maintenance of the ranch and the funding needed to do so. Probably about 3 or 4 months ago, General Manager McElhaney also became involved in this process. So last month, we addressed this issue. Director Michael Thomas brought up some changes that he thought could be incorporated into the plan. So those were addressed this past month and then incorporated into the plan that we voted on and approved at our July meeting last year. General Manager McElhaney can probably give you further details on this. Also, two things I'd like to mention. When this process initially began, there was some, how could we say it, disagreements with regard to what FFRP was hoping, the way they were addressing the issue and the district were addressing the issue. So there was some tension and some difficulty originally. But with the passage of time, ultimately there was much agreement and mutual respect and appreciation that took place, and that was the ultimate outcome. Also, I want to mention that at the July meeting, Board President Anderson got up and spoke, and one of the things that she said was that they had heard, especially folks stopped by the office of FFRP there on Main Street near Sandy's Deli, and many people have commented that the ranch has never looked better. And you could probably say that that's due to the work of our facilities and resources management and staff, Mr. Aguirre and his crew, as well as the volunteers at FFRP who do a lot of weeding and ice plant removal. So what we're hoping for ultimately is some financial assistance from FFRP to assist in paying district employees regarding ongoing management care is hopefully forthcoming. If I'm incorrect on this, the general manager can step in and state that. Also at the meeting last Thursday, the big issue was with regard to the skate park. Prior to the meeting, the concern was that we, the district, and Skate Cambria were about $150,000 short of being able to fund the very reasonable bid by Newton Construction with regard to building the skate park. So last Monday, the Cambria Community Council had a meeting to discuss this issue. Now, we didn't know the results of that meeting as we approached the Thursday meeting. So at least 100 people showed up, maybe more, were in attendance, mainly, of course, to support the skate park project. So the first person that got up and spoke was Dick Clark. He's the president of the Cambria Community Council. And he shocked us by saying that a member of the council had stepped forward and offered to provide all the monies that were needed to build the skate park, as well as cover the contingency fee. So when this happened, I mean, the crowd erupted in applause. You know, many of us, including yours truly, you know, were close to tears with this totally unexpected great news. So some items still need to be discussed by legal counsel staff, and Newton Construction. But it appears right now the building of the skate park was probably going to begin in about 3 to 5 weeks from now, which, to be very honest with you, it's still kind of hard to believe that this is actually happening, considering where we were a week ago. So that's what I have to say about last week's meeting. And the general manager, I'm sure, can add more to the content of what I provided. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Matthew, do you want to follow up? And I see we still have Jim here, so I don't know if you guys have something
Yeah,
big
I'll
news.
make it. I'll make it quick. I think Jim has some updates on some of our infrastructure projects. Um, President Farmer covered most of it. Small corrections. It's Diane Anderson and not Deborah Anderson that was working with us on the FFRP. Just
Sorry
what
about
don't.
that. I said Deborah Scott, who obviously is with our board. I made a mistake. It is Diane Anderson.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I just wanted to make sure we get that on video, that we correct that piece. Yeah, so we've been working with the FFRP on the ranch management plan for quite a while now, and we're really happy that we came to a consensus on the ranch management plan, and we have another ad hoc that's going to work on their budget, how it coincides with our budget, and how they might assist the district better. I don't know if they're going to actually fund a staff member, because we are down to just one maintenance technician, but they might be able to do that in future conversations, or they'll do maybe some contracting to lighten the load on some of the various different things we have going on with the ranch maintenance. But I feel like we're in a good position, and we've had some really good discussions. And credit to FFRP, they've funded quite a few things when it comes to the ranch, and they just bought a new mower for our department, which was around $3,500 or $4,000, which was very generous. And we'll continue to work with them moving forward on the ranch management plan. For the skate park, as President Farmer discussed, it was a huge surprise that the gap was closed, not only from the construction side, but also the contingency side. So it looks like the council covered the contingency, and there was an anonymous donor that covered $175,000. So the 175 was the construction funding gap, and then the council put up the contingency amount. And as President Farmer stated, we're working through some of the legal agreements that we'll have to have in place when it comes to the contingency and the transferring of not only the construction funds, but the maintenance funds over to the district. And once we have that solidified, we'll have a special meeting to have that agreement approved by the board. We'll have a subsequent special meeting if this all comes together, in which we will approve the public work contract with Newton Construction to begin the construction of the skate park. I've spoken with the construction company, and it will be about 3 weeks from the time that agreement is signed till they can break ground. So right now we're still in the back and forth with the council and our legal team to get that agreement kind of solidified. So we're not exactly sure when the groundbreaking would be for the skate park. We're hoping in the next 3 to 5 weeks, but that's really dependent on the timing of the agreement and the subsequent public works contract. But all good news. Lots of folks are really excited about this. The board's excited about it. Staff's excited to complete the project. As far as any other updates, I'll leave it to Jim. But for our water reclamation facility, the appeal period closed yesterday. There were 5 appeals by community members, but the Coastal Commission itself did not appeal it. So that's a positive sign. And so we've had, I think, no less than 6 meetings with Coastal Commission staff over the past 3 to 4 weeks, and we're working on some of their concerns, updating the AMP, adding in some language, getting them some water quality analysis, and we're confident that we'll be able to address their concerns. And like we did at the Board of Supervisors hearing, we'll be able to address the appeals and have those appeals denied, which is probably bold saying that here, but I'm going to go ahead and say that we'll be able to navigate that and be able to have those appeals denied and move towards a permanent coastal development permit. The 49-day clock for the Coastal Commission to actually hear our appeal started today. So 49 working days from now, we should have a hearing set to have those. So this is actually moving quicker than we thought, and we're looking forward to it. Jim and I and the rest of the staff have been working on that. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions. And if there are no questions, I'll turn it over to Jim.
Jim, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Galloway. Good evening, NCAC community. Thank you, Harry, for bringing up the skate park. We had been working on this for 3 years, despite all the naysayers. We've been doing some work at the Planning Commission level, the Board of Supervisor level. So I'm ecstatic to see this come around, and thanks so much for the generous donations. Really excited to see this be put in place. But another critical infrastructure project that's halfway completed is our Stewart Street tanks. So our second tank, which is going into construction here, they'll be mobilizing in the next week. So you'll see some noise and some traffic around Richard, Stewart Street in the Lodge Hill area. Again, that's 250,000 gallons of domestic water storage. So I'm sure Chief Berkey will be glad to see some fire water back in our storage tanks here for any potential use of there. So that's coming up. So I just want to make everyone aware there'll be some noise impacts in the upcoming weeks. We're about 6 weeks out from completing that project. So really excited on that front as well. We've had some calls that's hit our administration office about some road work that's going on. So SLO County is doing a seal coating project that's coming up in August and September. What they've been doing, I think some of you might have noticed on Burton in some locations where they've tore out some of that, what we call alligator kind of skin surface to the road and repave that. They'll be coming back around and sealing over that here prior to the wet season this year. So that's not CCSD work. Again, our roads are county maintained, so that is county work. We work directly with county roads on our improvements when we go underground for infrastructure repairs and capital improvements. So we're have a little privy to that knowledge there, but not exactly when and where. But I just wanted to bring the community up to date to that. So other good news, our well fields are actually up 1 foot in the San Simeon well field. So what that means to everybody is probably about another month duration at this level, staying static here. We're also running from the Santa Rosa well field. About 80% of the community's water is coming from there right now. So a couple good news and some projects coming around. And if you guys have any questions, and thank you, Chair Galloway. What a wonderful meeting tonight. I'm usually only pop in here quarterly, and it's been very smooth and productive. So thank you all. Yeah, appreciate everyone's participation and attendance.
Oh, thank you for being here. It looks like Harry's got a question for you. You want
Yes.
to?
No question. I just want to make a comment. So I recall earlier this year, Supervisor Gibson made the comment or the observation that sometime this summer, Public Works would be here to, how could we say it, improve some of the roadways on Burton Drive or on Burton and Ardith and over in that neck of the woods. Well, that happens to include right by where I live. And I just want to say, it's a difference of night and day between how the roads were being experienced by us prior to the work that they've done within the past week or two and the way it is now. So I want to thank Bruce for saying it was going to happen, because it did happen. And how often does the government say something's going to happen and it doesn't happen, or it's not nearly what we expected? So I just wanted to throw that in there. Thank you.
Yeah, again, props to the county for it's about a 5-year overlay. So since I've been here, this is the second time they've done this, and they're kind of dividing the community into quadrants. So this is the second out of 4, but I don't want to speak for my other community brethren there, but that's my understanding of the project. And so you'll see a couple more progressions of this in the years to come. But yeah, it's definitely an improvement for us. My operators who are, pounding the pavement every day in trucks and going out to sites and meters, just applaud their effort. And it's a very nice repaving job. So yeah, we appreciate that as well.
All right, thanks, Harry. Jim, can I ask you something? So you said the well fields, and just forgive me if this is stupid, but I feel like most of us don't know about all this.
Sure. Yeah.
They're, you said they're up a foot, and like, what
Yes.
does that mean to us? And how does that's from like rain and runoff or not at all? Like, how does this happen?
Right. So this is going to get complicated, and I'll try and get simple, keep it simple, because I've been told you have to explain to a 6-year-old. So basically, we've had creek cessation in the Santa Rosa or the San Simeon Creek flow, right? That stopped at July 1st. Thank goodness for that late season rain that we had in that late April, Mayish era. That brought us about another month of creek flow there. So that creek flow is what fills that aquifer up. This is considered the dry season. So from May to October, we are permitted to run the Santa Rosas. So we kind of rest the San Simeons because that is where 80% of the community's water comes from. So out of our 520 acre feet last year, so we're around a 500 acre feet annually, we pull 360, 340 out of the San Simeon. So that additional acre foot is about another month of running. So that's an additional about 60 acre foot. So thank you, Mother Nature. We appreciate it. We'll take it. We're still conserving that San Simeon well field here. I know we're waiting this Godzilla El Nino, but we're still operating aquifer management, and that's resting the San Simeons during this dry season period, especially after creek cessation, and then operating 80% now on the Santa Rosa side. Unfortunately, the Santa Rosa is a surface water treatment well, so we have to operate it with a little bit higher chlorine residual. So you guys will notice a little bit higher chlorine residual at your tap. It shouldn't be that much higher. It's about half a part per million for you scientists out there, which isn't really noticeable to the taste or to the palate or to the nose. But it is measurable. So that again, we run till the end of October, and we supplement now with the San Simeon. So I hope that explains that to you.
I mean, it definitely has to sink in, but it makes more sense. And then just so I think we're all understanding the concept, at least in the little way we can, like, okay, so let's say this El Nino comes, like, is a ton of rain in a condensed period of time. Like, I just imagine the earth isn't just sucking up all that water immediately. So does it matter unless the rainfall spread out? If I don't know.
So no, I think I see where you're going with this, Christina. So last year or this last rain season, it was pretty perfect. It fell slowly, long. We had a late season. We were able to utilize all that. When we get these flash experiences, especially in the Santa Rosas and the San Simeon, that just flows right out to the ocean. We have a very small bucket that we is our aquifer, and most of our aquifer plumbing is only 80, 100 foot down, where if you come into Paso and head east towards the San Joaquin Valley, they're thousands, 600s and thousands of feet down. So again, we have a very small bucket, so that fills up very quickly as well. So when we have these flash storms and the aquifer fills up, it doesn't do us a whole bunch of good when it goes back out to the ocean. So we would prefer a slower, more steady rainfall pattern like we just experienced this last wet season. Doesn't look like we're heading into that. So on the wastewater side of things and the infrastructure side of things, we're starting to prepare for those. I don't want to say catastrophic. I don't want to, incite a riot here, but we're concerned about it. We were out at the Van Gordon Creek confluence into the San Simeon today, and kind of addressing some Clyde Warren comments from last board meeting. And we need to do some clearing there so we don't cause any, artery flow stoppage. We don't want a dam there and then have to flood out San Simeon Creek Road. So we're looking at some options and preparing for the wet season there as well. But we definitely would prefer last season's rainfall pattern as opposed to a potential Godzilla El Nino. But yeah, so if we get 20 extra inches of rain and it's in a flash pattern, it doesn't do our aquifers or our consumption or our diversion any benefit.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like it's like a common misconception because you're like, yeah, rain, we need rain, but it doesn't necessarily change things when it all. Okay.
We're in slow county, so slow and steady does the trick, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, you explained
You
it in
bet.
a way we could understand
Yeah.
it. Kermit, do you want to go ahead? Oh, you're muted. Still muted. Let me ask you to unmute. There you go. No,
Yeah.
there
In
you
two
go.
sentences or less, are we contemplating ever joining San Simeon um, in putting the two communities under one water situation?
I'll take that one.
Was wondering.
Yeah. So we're looking at, from San Simeon's dissolution. There's talk at the county, because they're most likely to take that over as a county service area, and they are looking at a regionalization in terms of treating their wastewater. I don't know the viability of us joining in terms of water sharing. There's been some discussion, at least at the San Simeon board level, of that desire about putting an interconnect, not only for wastewater, but for water, potentially brine disposal. So those are long range conversations that, in terms of the county and the dissolution process, and then the amount of permitting and agencies that would be involved in doing that tie-in with those three different lines, is a very long-range conversation that has to deal with multiple agencies, multiple board supervisors, the Cambria Community Service District Board. And so there's talk of it, but it's a long ways off from ever being, a reality. But it's being looked at.
Thank you, Matthew. Deborah, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, I have three very quick things. Does anyone know if we're on a schedule with the slow, street and department to clear out our culverts and drains and reinstall some of these market sites that people keep running over that are marking those culverts? I mean, are they do like a schedule where, um, it's the month of October every year or something? I mean, does anybody know if we're on a schedule for
Deborah,
that?
Deborah, I can't really speak. That's Slow County Public Works roads,
Right.
and they're out in the community daily, several trucks. I can't speak to their schedule, but I know from working for the county years ago that there is a schedule, and prior to the wet season, they actually have several crews that go out and evacuate culverts. They touch, every culvert in the county prior to this, and especially ones that are under tremendous storm flow or that are vulnerable prior to. So I'm not sure their schedule. I can't speak to that for our relative agency, but I know that that is in place. And I mean, I think if you can reach out to us, we could probably give you some contacts that could explain that better.
They're on speed dial on my phone.
Very good.
The thing is, I know it would take forever, decades to get any more wells. Is there any reason why we can't start the process to develop other wells so that we can catch more of this water that's just running off into the ocean?
So it wouldn't be more of a well capture. So you wouldn't want to punch a hole and put another well, and you'd want to actually capture the storm water here. And so that's something that we've been looking at with like Creeklands and Stillwater, and they did sort of a up to Santa Rosa Creek Road. So some of the landowners there, they did where they spread out the alluvium, and so that way it would kind of flood and soak and leach in rather than just flow out to the ocean here. Those are all very expensive and long-term projects and require land acquisition, but it's something that's definitely on our mind. With off-stream storage or things like that, those are about 30-year projects as well.
Right.
And when
Okay.
you consider a project of that potential or capacity, you have to take in the Division of Drinking Water and, State and Regional Water Quality Boards wants you to have 3 years of storage capacity. So if we would, size up for a contingency to 550 or whatever, we'd have to look at basically a 1,600 acre foot capacity of storage, and that's quite a bit of a footprint. And up in the Santa Rosas and the San Simeons, a lot of that is in, nature preserved or, spoken for. And so that's a long-term project, but we're always looking at that. And I think, honestly, me personally, that's kind of the way. That's another piece that you need to put in the water portfolio for the community.
Right, a long-term event.
Hmm.
The other thing is I'm starting to study permaculture, and if we could put out something very simple, like a one-page document or something on CCSD website with all the fabulous articles on simple ways to develop swales on your own property, like a rain garden kind of thing, and sort of start to capture these things so that our land isn't being washed away, and we could capture some of that, and won't be just going down into the ocean or down the road.
Absolutely. I know my wastewater superintendent would love to advocate for your rain gutters that go into our sewer laterals and rather, harvest that for storage and future irrigation. So, yeah, definitely.
Maybe an educational thing to people harvesting their rainwater and
That's a
spreading it out on
that
their property a certain. I'm just starting to develop my own plan, and
no, that sounds good. That sounds
there's
like
a
a
whole
great topic
science
for,
to it.
right. Yeah, that sounds like a good topic for our resources and infrastructure committee that we have
Mhm.
quarterly on, I think the first Monday of the month. So yeah, we can bring that forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I think we have one last thing from Harry. Yeah, go ahead.
Muted.
Muted. Let me ask you.
Sorry about that. I just want to follow up on what Deborah said. Um, Folks that have been around a while, when we had the really difficult situation back in the mid 2010s, and the drought circumstances. And so many people installed water tanks at their homes. So I just want to encourage people who haven't done that to consider installing water tanks, and also just get 32-gallon trash cans. Find out where the water runs off of your roof and put the trash cans there, because every little bit helps. And you can use that rainwater, throughout, whenever it's available, to water your indoor plants, water your outdoor plants. So any opportunity you have to save rainwater, one needs to take advantage of it. And so that's my suggestion. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Well, I think, is that it? You guys, are you good, CCSD? Yeah. Jim, thank you so
Thanks. Yeah.
much. No, you gave us
No,
like a
appreciate it.
water lesson, like,
Sorry,
yeah,
a
free
little
water.
impromptu, but thank you. Yeah, appreciate the time, Chair.
Yeah, no, it's like amazing because it's like it's so important. It's like the issue kind of Cambria, but none of us really fully understand it. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
And
if
then
you guys like any future presentations, just reach out and we can put something together for you. Yeah, thank you.
for sure. Kermit, do you want to? I know we don't have Cecilia here, and then Karen is good on outreach. Do you want? So yeah, Kermit, do you want to do anything?
Yes. Okay. I've just finished reading this wonderful document here that it says backwards to you. The Slocog Highway 1 North Coast Corridor Plan. And it goes from San Simeon down to Highway 46. And you've heard about it several times. They have about 60 some pages of really packed good information. I see I gave a website. Did you happen to send that out, that address on my report thing? I don't remember. How would I get that website to everybody out there?
I can send it with the video, when I send the recording of this.
Okay. Well, anyway, I have a meeting. There's a meeting with them tomorrow, but it's just hour and a half sitting around the table. Nothing much gets done. But I guess the biggest thing is they do pack a lot of information in this document that you read backwards. And the biggest, there's two things that have a problem. One is it's a little bit of a game where they pick up all the information and then somebody has to decide behind the curtain what projects get picked. And when you have on the listing of the document sent out, we are capable of we have $10 million headed. No, we have $10 million headed if we pass the initiative for the raise the 1% sales tax. If we don't raise the 1% sales tax, we don't get diddly squat except this beautiful little pamphlet that tells us everything we already sort of know anyway. So it's just one of those things where we are definitely in a ballpark area of getting some good projects related to Highway 1 because this is driven primarily by the Highway Department, ADOT, California Highway Department, and the other one's Arizona. But the statement, the key is we need money, and it's going to be that 1% initiative to dangle in front of us to vote for it. So that's one. And then
Hermit,
the
can
second
I
one
interrupt
is-
you really fast? And I think everybody knows my brain is fried lately, but are we talking about a half a cent sale tax? Okay,
Is it half a cent or more?
a half a cent.
Okay. So am I amiss in saying we won't get diddly squat if we don't get that 0.5% sales tax on these projects? It's questionable because they'll always give us a sidewalk somewhere in town. But so I have no idea of the machinery of how the final projects are picked because there's a lot of things going in here. Everything that everyone ever wanted to request, culverts, wildlife safety, all these things, every stop signs and so forth. They got every stop. They recorded every stop sign location in the whole place. It's really quite good reading if you don't like people and like to be alienated from somewhere. So, but I'm going to make sure you get the website, and it has it already. It's a June 26th, but they are going real fast, and they are going to finish this thing in probably 2 or 3 months before the election occurs. And we can try to catch some things. I read it. I had a couple minor corrections. You will have 1 or 2 also, but it's a little, you lose your grip on everything when it moves quickly through a crowd of people as it's intended to do. And so that's it. So I think that's all I have to say. And other than read it, I'll get this website out to you on your mail list if I could. But you don't get $10 million, no vote. So you're being held up.
Really quick,
Just start using a gun. That's all.
is Jim, can you touch on this? So my understanding was that Highway 1 is like Caltrans and they pay for that stuff.
They're paid for this, but they look, Highway 1 main line or Main Street is in PG&E land, not county, I think. Is that correct?
I guess I'm wondering, like, in terms of funding, like, why would we have to pay for Highway 1? I mean, pay here locally.
If you wait for Caltrans to put all the money together to do it, you will wait an amount of time. If you can bring other local monies to it, then that leverages federal grants and other things to move it faster. So technically Caltrans would be the source, but if you're competing with the entire state of California for Caltrans dollars, right? Laird right now is a really good asset to get that. Addis pretty good, but Laird's gone in 2 years, and who knows who the next one is, right? And those connections start to go away. So if you have those extra dollars that can leverage federal dollars and make that buy-in from Caltrans smaller, you're going to get them faster.
Yeah, they always announce like the three cities area who did pass the bill last year always seem to get a lot of things, and they do sort of point that out, and it's coming your way in a vote towards you. So we'll discuss this again next month, but within a week, less than a week, I'll get the mailing list, and we can send out where you would find this electronically.
Okay, yeah, that'll be cool. But then, and Jim, just because my brain needs to process this. Like, so I get that all of California, right, and Caltrans is like spread thin. But isn't there an argument to be made, like, so the state threw all this money to fix those landslides, and then here we are, like counting our like beans,
Well,
like what isn't there an
They,
argument?
they would probably argue that that money was for your benefit.
Okay.
Even though it wasn't Cambria's benefit.
Yeah.
To open up that, like, it didn't, I mean, it benefits San Simeon, it benefits that, again, yes, it is a statewide asset, right? Highway 1 is the most famous, but they would see that as central region designated money. And at the state of Sacramento level, they'd be like, yeah, no, we took care of all of San Luis Obispo with that. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, no, but.
Okay. So they think because they threw all the money, like they don't really know exactly what's what, that like there's all this now that's going to be left to fend for itself. Okay.
The biggest problem with Highway 1 is all that money was spent on Highway 1, and look at the gift we've given you. But on the other hand, there is a plan out there on this Highway 1 through the Big Sur area with lots of upgrades, and no upgrades have done. No toilets came. I noticed a couple signs said pull over. There's no pullover places for you. So it doesn't make any difference. They don't have any more money, and that hill keeps falling down, and chances are it could. Christine Fox is over there, betting on total annihilation in 20 years. And so you never know. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. And then it looks like
We got
Dennis.
Jeff Bloom up here. So.
Yes. And then Dennis, do you want to go ahead? Oh, did you not? Oh, there you go.
Yes, please. Let's go on the video here. Okay, quick. Sorry about that. So real quick, current. I'm understanding it correctly. If I found the right website, one of the things that the goals of this is to recommend ways to minimize climate change vulnerabilities, like storm surges, coastal and floodwater flooding, stormwater flooding, sea level rise, wildfires, landslides, and other impacts. Am I looking at the right report?
Yeah, you are. And it seems I know it doesn't sound like what we're talking about, but I think I'm just guessing it was kind of like their way of doing a catch-all, and then you could kind of get these other improvements under a more climate-related initiative.
All right. So the question is,
it is all in the document, and they are concerned about the high water and moving the highway and the culverts that feed the water down that could block up and wash out during a storm. So they're very concerned about it. And it's also how we might get a new bridge in town that on Santa Rosa Creek, and maybe even a way to get people to cross it.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Okay, so so the draft is coming out? Is that what I understand?
The draft is out for review, and I'll give you, it's all electronic, so you'll have to read it unless you want to print out 60 pages of.
Okay, so it's out for public comment right now.
Yes, and I don't know. Yeah, they'll have, yes, I'll get you out there. We'll see what happens.
Okay, yeah, we can, once I see, we'll find out when the comments are finally due and how much time we have left to comment. Because I would definitely like to see what it has to say about our Santa Rosa Creek Highway 1 crossing and the overflow of the bypass and my favorite tree, the eucalyptus tree, that sort of thing.
You will like this then.
He was being facetious.
It's the only one that addresses stuff like that you.
Okay.
And
I
then,
can't wait for the light reading.
Dennis, were you able to fill out the survey? There was like a digital survey online.
I haven't got that far yet.
Okay. And then Kermit or Matthew, do you guys know if that's still running, the survey for?
I think it was about 3 weeks. I filled mine out that was sent out, but
Okay.
I will
Well,
I'll have to double check.
okay. If
What's
it's
that?
still going, then I'll include that too.
Right.
Okay. And then Jeff Bloom, do you want to close us out here? Oops, you're muted.
you're
Still muted. Let me see. Theme of the night.
There we go. Recognizing that the supervisors can't advocate directly for the tax measure, are you aware, Jim, of any organized groups out there that are citizen-based that we might invite to a future meeting to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the organization that was trying to make this a citizens initiative is still together. Better Roads for SLO, I think. I'll look it up real quick and then drop it in here. But also, I know some of the folks who are on it. I can get them to come out to make, but they're going to be running essentially the campaign because at this point, SLO COG nor the county or any of those can go do the actual advocacy part.
Right. Right. So it'd be helpful if we're able to, Christina, connect with whoever that is for the purposes of our collecting input and maybe having them make a presentation. And I think the other thing, having been involved in several of these measures, that the real power in them is not just the half cent that people pay up front. It's that it because they're 20 and 30-year lifespans, what's done in practice is you take the tax anticipation from that and are able to do much larger projects than you could otherwise do because you're basically going to finance them with the equivalent of bonds. Or not bonds, they're tax anticipation notes, but it basically calculates how much revenue, if all things stayed equal, the measure will generate over its lifetime, and then allocate it to the projects and then go out and finance it so that you can actually bring these things to the community sooner than you might. Otherwise, you'd wait forever for the state to come around with enough money to do a project. And then, like was mentioned, there's in the federal transportation law, you get more money if you're a self-help county, meaning that you're providing a larger component of your own funds. It's just a principle, the way the transportation monies flow, that you get considerably more points in the beauty contest of who gets the money if you've got your own money going into it. And so where counties like San Luis have been missed out is they're not self-help counties, so they don't get any of the money that's extra. They have to wait around forever, really, for Caltrans to get it into the state budget, or hopefully the only other avenue for getting it is for a congressman or senator to go do some special legislation to get money directed at a particular project. But that too is really limited, and usually limited in size compared to the overall transportation money that you're able to capture if you're a self-help county. So it really, if people want to see any congestion relief, any transit improvements, any local improvements, it's really the only way it can take place, realistically. It's nice to think the government should take care of everything, but it's really the local communities putting up money that helps to kind of grease the skids for that money to come to the county. So it's really important. And, when you look at I'm more familiar with what happened down south, but things like the subway systems and the Metrolink and the large freeway extensions all had local measure money included in bringing them to life. Without it, they'd have never been built. And you can imagine what it's overwhelming congestion now. You can imagine what it would have been without those improvements. And we're getting our own little taste of it. My family was in town over the weekend and got caught up in some of the traffic between just San Luis and Arroyo Grande with the narrow freeway, and we're shocked that there's that kind of freeway congestion, but there's only 2 lanes. So naturally you're going to see that, and I pretty sure that Santa Barbara, all the work you've seen there with Santa Barbara County passing a measure helping to finance the widening of the freeways, and it's really about moving people, and Kermit's efforts to kind of direct it here at safety and pedestrians. Those are all the things that are important to Cambria, but we also do really benefit from the things that happen throughout the rest of the county. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. No, I think we benefit, and it can become our problem too. Because I think it's like, for somebody like me, it's great to live in Cambria and I can just drive where I need to go. But if that drive goes from like 45 minutes and then all of a sudden it's going to start taking an hour and 15 and then an hour and a half and 2 hours, then you may as well just live back in LA. So it is interesting to kind of watch traffic even increase as I've been here over the past few years. But I think the biggest thing that I've heard on that half-cent measure from people here is just that they don't think that the money's ever going to come here, or it's going to go to some project on 46 or yada yada. So I definitely think if we could have the citizens-based group on to kind of, I know the NCAC, we gave feedback to Slow Cog on what we were confused about and what we thought could be clarified with the measure, but I don't think I heard back on that. But I think something like that to help people better understand. Otherwise, I haven't heard like that positive of a response from Cambrians on it. But I'll say that, and I know it's 8:37, so people don't want to talk about Slow Cog all night. So, but we'll see if we can get it on the agenda for next month. Is that, yeah, we're okay. All right. So then Karen's back. What do you think? Are we good to go? You're muted too. This is the night.
You muted, Karen.
I'm at sea. I've been gone for so much of this meeting. I'm so sorry about that. So let's talk about Slow Cog some more.
That's it.
I vote we adjourn.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Kermit. No, thank you guys. Yeah, just again and again and again for sticking this out. All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.